Okay, so good morning all. My name is Holly. I'm an Engagement Officer for the Communities for Work Plus project, and I'd like to welcome you all to our Amazon Careers question and answer session. Thank you all for joining us today. So please could everybody start by muting their microphones and turning their cameras off. I would also like to inform you that this event is being recorded so that we can share the info with anybody who could not join us today. So I'm going to start by giving you a brief summary of the Communities for Work Plus project and the support that we and other employability projects under NPT Employability can offer, including a video from one of our employment mentors. We will then be joined by Natasha O'Sullivan, Resource Lead from Adecco, who will be talking to you for about 20 minutes, telling you everything you need to know about working for Amazon. Once Natasha has finished speaking, you will have a chance to ask her questions. Our Employer Liaison Officer, Emma, will then be joining us to talk to you about her role and how she and our mentors can assist you with finding employment. You can ask questions either by clicking on the raise hand option, which will show the employer you wish to ask a question, and then by unmuting yourself to speak, or you can ask questions via the chat or conversation option. So, who are we? The Communities for Work Plus project is a local authority employability programme funded by the Welsh Government. It acts as a wraparound support for the Communities for Work project. We work alongside other local authority employability projects such as Workways Plus, PACE and CamNESA, which you may have already heard of. We all come under the umbrella of NPT Employability, working together ultimately with the aim of helping you to find suitable and sustainable employment. How have we helped people? So from the time the Communities for Work Plus project has been running for 2 years, we have engaged with 1,073 people and have put 401 people into employment. And of course, numbers rise as time goes on. So we can help you if you're age 16 plus and living in Neath Port Talbot, unemployed and hoping to get back into work, in part-time employment and looking for more hours, or on lower wages or a 0-hour contract. We can help you with things such as confidence building, funded training opportunities, mock interviews, work experience and employment opportunities. And we try to help break down any barriers you may be facing, preventing you from accessing work. So what's the process and how do you sign up? You can contact us easily via WhatsApp, text or by calling or emailing us. You can also send your details in to us via our online referral form on our webpage www.npt.gov.uk/CFW. What's the process and how do you sign up? We have a central referral system, which means that if you get in touch with us for help, you will be allocated to the most suitable project based on your needs. You don't have to worry about whether you're eligible for us or not. You can leave that to us. Once you've been referred to the project, you will be assigned an employment mentor who will work with you on a one-to-one basis, meeting with you regularly in local community buildings to help you achieve your employment goals. Our mentors are still working from home due to the COVID-19 situation at the moment, but are still available to help you via telephone, email and video calls. So if this is something you're interested in, please remember to jot down our contact information and get in touch today. So next up, I'll play you one of our videos, our success stories from one of our employment mentors.
The Communities for Work and Communities for Work Plus programmes offer employability support to people who are looking to get into work or back into the world of work. We can support people over the age of 16 years. Our teams can provide one-to-one mentoring which is tailored to suit individual needs and provide support, guidance and training to help people build confidence, gain valuable skills and help them move forward and empower them to find the work. Communities for Work Plus also supports individuals who are working low-hour or 0-hour contracts to help them secure additional hours. This is done through gaining new skills and qualifications. The mentors provide guidance and support throughout your journey to employment and will help you identify areas for development and provide access to training. They will help with CV writing, job searches, interview techniques and explore all avenues to overcome barriers that the clients may have. The mentors offer a personal and tailored service, different for each individual's needs. This is Catherine and Karen's journey.
Hi, I'm Catherine and I'm here to talk about Communities for Work and how they've helped me progress in the last year. I first came across Communities for Work when my partner had an interview with a colleague and my nerves were really bad, but I did want help with my future.
We made an appointment for Catherine to come in and see me again, and we did a registration process where I found out what Catherine's barriers were, how we can help her, and the first step that we thought would be best was helping her with a confidence course.
I met Karen, who instantly clicked. It was amazing, and she was on about courses with ACL, so she put me on a confidence course. And I loved it, every minute of it. And I've done loads with Communities for Work since. It's been a year now since Karen and I first met in Communities for Work, and I now have had the confidence to ask to volunteer in the library, and it's done me so well. It's wonderful to work here. Even though it's volunteering, it's just that meeting people and talking and just having like different jobs to do daily, just gets me out the house, makes me feel good.
A volunteer award ceremony was coming up. Adult Community Learning contacted us to see if we had anybody we could nominate. Instantly I thought Catherine would be perfect for it because she's done so well. I nominated her, attended the event in Neath College back in May, and Catherine won. So we all cried that night and she's gone from strength to strength.
Talking to Karen's like talking to a friend. She made me feel really at ease. If I hadn't met Communities for Work, I would probably still be in a dark place right now, but I wouldn't have had the confidence to speak to people. I certainly wouldn't have been volunteering in the library or done my courses. I wouldn't have had the skills. I wouldn't met Karen, so I wouldn't have had a friend. And I've been on a Learners Award, which is definitely a big thing for me. And I've also thought about counselling for the future, so I've taken on my own online courses to do that, and I just wouldn't have had the courage to do it. And it's all because Communities for Work has just helped me along the way.
Okay, thank you for that video, Karen. I will now hand you over to Natasha O'Sullivan from Adecco. So, Natasha will tell you all about Amazon, and then at the end you'll have a chance to ask lots of questions. So, Natasha, are you ready?
Yeah, perfect. How is everybody, first of all? Hopefully everybody's all good. So what I will do is I will share my screen and load up a presentation for yourselves as well. So let me pop that there for you. Can you just let me know that everybody can see that?
I can't see it yet, Natasha.
No? Okay, 2 seconds. Let's see if we can get that. 2 seconds. There we go. Is that better for everybody?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Perfect. And can you see it full screen if I do that?
I can, yes.
Perfect. That's
can I
great.
just, before you start, if you have any videos within that presentation, just make sure you've clicked on the share system audio when opening the share tree, that's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
no problem. So there's not going to be any videos on this one. What I will do, because for some reason my laptop won't let me view the video on my laptop, so what I'll do is I'll include it in the chat. So people can watch it in their spare time. It's just more, it'll show you what it's like to be in the warehouse. So that'll be quite beneficial to everybody as well. But first of all, as I said, I'll go through this presentation with you guys. This is normally the presentation that we go through when people come into the welcome events. Now, due to COVID, as many of you are aware, it is a very different situation, and how we run events has completely changed. So hopefully I'll be able to get through that with you. I'll show you exactly how to apply, how that works and how that looks. And obviously we'll go through the site information. So we'll go through the jobs kind of information now, just to make sure it is something you want to do. And then from there, then we'll go through on how to apply and stuff like that. So this is directed towards the Amazon in Swansea, which is on Fabian Way. So the Adecco Group is a very large organisation, and we have over 31,000 employees in over 6,000 branches in over 60 countries around the world. So if for any reason Amazon isn't for you, then we do have other opportunities for yourself as well. However, obviously today is what we're discussing is about Amazon as well. So this is the process of how we would normally look at your application. So we'd get you to apply through something called Salesforce. Now, Salesforce is just an online application. All that needs to be done is you put in your first name, your surname, your email address, your date of birth, your national insurance number, and your home address. That is all we need from you for you to be able to apply for this job. From there, we will then book you into a registration. Now, the registration will be a phone interview, so you do not need to leave the comfort of your own home. All you need is a mobile or a landline that we can contact you on. Then from there, we will call you and go through some forms with yourself. You will be sent a link called Connect. And then what you'll do, you'll fill in more of your personal details, like your bank details, any medical issues you may be suffering, and it'll ask from just general questions about doctors, emergency contacts, and all the rest of it. And then from there, we will go through that with you during the registration, as I stated. And then from there, we will then be able to process you through the application. Now, the phone interview will be some basic questions, things like kind of where have you worked before, how long have you worked in that job, or kind of have you got any work experience, or are you currently employed? There'll be some other questions, but they're kind of the main bulk of the questions that we would ask you. Then we would then place you into something called a VCE. Now, a VCE is basically like a big questionnaire. It's around, I think it's around 30 questions that they will ask you, and you just need to be as honest and as happy as you can be when you're answering those questions as well. From there, we'll be able to evaluate your application and tell you if you've been successful or not. And that will tie in with the interview there as well. So as you can see on the list, it does say about a drug and alcohol test. Now, they used to be pre-employment tests, which means that you would have them before you even do your interview. However, now they are done on site. So please be aware for that as well. You would be required to pass a drug and alcohol test. So with the drug and alcohol testing, there is random drug and alcohol tests on site. And again, when I say random, I do mean it can happen at any time. Your drug tester will inform you of this, but we ask you not to eat, drink, smoke or chew gum 20 minutes prior to your test. And again, if you fail the test on site or refuse to take the test, it can result into a dismissal from Amazon, just to make you aware as well. So with shifts then, kind of what can we offer you and what are you looking at? So we've got either days or nights, they're the two options that we offer. Once you select a shift, you work the same shift every single week for the duration of your contract. There's no swapping and there's no changing. And again, if you work days, you work days all the way through. If you work nights, you work nights all the way through. Now, the normal standard times, as you can see on the screen, days is 7:30 till 6 or 7:45 till 6:15. And then nights are going to be from 6:30 till 5 or 6:45 in the evening till 5:15 in the morning. Now, at the moment, due to COVID, they have staggered start times. So the times will vary slightly, but the earliest that you will be starting should be around 7 a.m. And then the latest you'll be starting is 7:45, and then you'll tie into those times as well. All shifts are around 10.5 hours long. You are paid for 10 hours. You get a half-hour paid break and a half-hour unpaid break as well for yourself. And we'll go through it in a little bit of where you can take those breaks and all the rest of it as well. So the benefit of working in Amazon is if you work overtime, there will be plenty for you to do that. Your basic rate of pay for days will be £9.50 an hour, and basic rate of pay for nights will be £11.25. Now, if you wish to work over 40 hours, you'll be paid at time and a half. Anything over 50 hours is at double time. Also, before you start in Amazon and you've selected your shift, as I said, once the shift you've picked, you'll work that through the continuation of your contract. It will be a case of normally you have to go to site to do something called a day zero. Now, a day zero is basically an induction day normally held at Amazon. However, due to COVID at the moment, they are being done online virtually. So we would ask you to download an app called Amazon Chime. And then from this app, you will literally dial in, and our Amazon staff and our agency staff will provide you with a presentation. Not too dissimilar to what I'll be doing today. However, it's more instructed towards the site, the do's and don'ts, the health and safety risks and all the rest of it. And it gives you more chance to ask more detailed questions about the site as well. So you'll have that normally the day before you start in Amazon. The day zero call is normally around about an hour and a half to 2 hours. However, you are always paid for 3 just in case it runs over. And again, it's always held the day before you're due to start. So with this day zero, as I mentioned then, this is the old structure where they used to be on site. So when COVID is over, it will go back to this procedure where it'll be held on site. There'll be a 5-hour induction. We ask you to take your ID and your assignment sheet with you as well. But again, we'll go through the what to wear and stuff like that in just a few minutes as well. So with your contract then, obviously I've mentioned the word contract a few times, just to give you a heads up on that. We will normally expect you to work around 9 months. That's what the contract is there for. Anywhere from October to December, we normally advise it's around a 3 to 4 month contract during those times. However, if you want to join now, we'll be expecting you to be there for 9 months. However, this doesn't mean that you will stop working at 9 months. There's a couple of things that can happen. So if your contract ends, one of them can be that we ask you to wait 8 to 12 weeks. And then we can put you back in the business. Another option then is where you get put on a fixed term contract or an FTC, which is basically when Amazon offers you a temporary contract, but directly with them. So you're no longer with the agency, but you work with Amazon. And that could be for another 3 to 9 months with them directly. Another option is to be made permanent by Amazon, but that does completely depend on 1, your performance, and 2, the needs and requirements of Amazon at the time of when your contract is finishing. We ask you to only accept a shift pattern and a process path that you know that you can commit to. I know some people may have transport issues, or it may be the case of, they have to go to church, or it could be the case of they have other commitments, sport commitments, whatever it may be on certain days. So when you do select a shift, we do make sure that it is one that you can do. The shift pattern will always be consistent of normally 1 day in the weekend, but at the moment, the shifts that we're looking at are both days in the weekend. But a type of shift pattern that we'd be looking at is something either like a Sunday to Wednesday, a Wednesday to Saturday, a Thursday to Sunday, a Friday to Monday, or a Saturday to Tuesday. So there are most common options that come through for us. So again, once you select that shift, then you'll be working that all the way through. During Amazon's peak period, which is November and December, which everybody knows is the mental Christmas rush, that will be the case of you are required to work overtime. So it will be the case of working 1 day extra a week. So instead of working 4 days a week, you'll work 5. Instead of working 40 hours a week, you'll work 50. But as I mentioned, anything over 40 hours is time and a half. Anything over 50 is double time. So with holidays, if you've got anything booked between November and December, you need to make sure you're informing us. Holidays during this time will be approved unless pre-booked, just due to the busy period of time in Amazon. So as I mentioned, pay rates, days is £9.50 an hour, nights is £11.25 an hour. Amazon's working week is Sunday to Saturday, which does mean for you guys then that you will be being weekly every single Friday, and you get paid 1 week in arrears. You accumulate your hours by clocking in and clocking out of the building. You will be told this on your day zero as well, but you cannot use anybody else's badge to get into the building. It has to be your own. If you do try and use somebody else's badge, you will be dismissed for misconduct. So please be aware of that as well. And again, everything will be paid on a Friday for you. You're automatically enrolled into a pension scheme. It is the law for us to do that. However, you can cancel at any time if you wish. You'll be provided with the pension details when you start Amazon. And again, we need to make sure that you have a bank account in your own name for us to be able to pay you that as well. If you don't have a bank account currently, I would maybe suggest either obviously trying to set up one or using an online bank as well. So as I mentioned about the overtime, as I said, it's normally around a 3 to 4 week period. That's all it is. So between November and December, it's 1 extra shift a week. So instead of working 4 days, you'll work 5. And again, with the overtime that is running, you may be required to start half an hour earlier or finish half an hour later. But again, when you get booked before overtime kicks in, so before November time, everybody in that building will be told by their site managers and by their reps exactly what days you'll be working, what hours you'll be working. If something that conflicts, with your current lifestyle or wherever it may be, they will try and work around that for you. So as I mentioned with holidays, anything pre-booked, please make sure you're notifying us during your interview and we can make sure they're booked off for you. Any holidays between November and December, we may require proof just to provide that it is obviously booked and for us to be able to view that for yourself as well. Now, with absence, obviously there is going to be the case that some people get sick or there's going to be family emergencies or whatever it may be. We just ask you to notify us. It's really, really important that you do that. Some people don't call in. If you don't call in, you'll be coded down as a no call, no show. More than 2 no call, no shows, and you'll be released from your assignment. It takes 2 seconds just to call us. You're provided with the on-site team number multiple times throughout the interview process and from your start date, and you can always contact the office or any of us to be able to give you that number as well, so you can be able to report your absence. So again, there's going to be multiple reasons why you could be absent. The contact number for the on-site team obviously is on the screen now. I don't expect you to take it down, so don't worry. But again, we has to be rang by yourself. So for example, if you're saying that you've got a cold or a flu, nobody can ring in on your behalf. It has to be done by yourself, unfortunately. And again, please ensure you're contacting the Adecco on-site team for every day of your sickness. So if you are off for a few days, every single day that you are off, you need to call in to notify them. A doctor's note is required for absences longer than 7 days. Dress code, it is casual and comfortable. It's not business suits, it's not fancy shoes or anything like that. It is as comfortable as you want it to be. So that could include gym kit, shorts and t-shirt, jeans, hoodies, whatever it means to be. You are more than welcome to wear that. If you are wanting to wear a hoodie, all you need to do is remove the drawstrings, and that's just for health and safety reasons, for like stuff like conveyor belts and stuff like that. With anything with shoes, we ask you to wear flat, safe, comfortable shoes, something like a trainer or a boot. High heels, flip-flops, any open-toe shoes are not acceptable, unfortunately. If you do need any safety boots on site, they will be provided for you. So you do not need to worry about that. They'll get your size from you on your day 0 or your day 1, and they'll then provide them for you. With any like heavy jackets or anything like that, or as it says on the screen, no heavy winter coats or loose baggy clothing. This is just for health and safety reasons. Obviously for heavy winter coats, we don't want anybody overheated in the building. It is very, very warm. Even in winter, some people tend to wear shorts and t-shirt just to stay cool within the building as well. There is aircon in there. However, obviously it depends on what part of the building you are, how affected you are by that as well. So again, please make sure that you are wearing normal fitting clothing as well. Anybody with hair below shoulder length does need to be tied up out of the way. Also, if you have a beard beneath a certain length, they will ask you to wear a net or tie it up out of the way as well. With t-shirts or jumpers or hoodies, wherever it may be, I know that sometimes you like to have like a slogan on them or a funny message. Please just make sure that there's nothing offensive. I personally say wear plain clothing, just in case it does cause offence. Also, there's no football jerseys or rugby jerseys or any sport team jerseys to be worn in the building, just to stop any kind of team favoritism or anything like that within the building as well. So going through with you, so anything with medical conditions, if anyone does have any medical conditions, whether it be bad knees, bad ankles, anxiety, depression, autism, ADHD, anything like that that you may suffer with, we just ask you to declare it for us. It's not to stop you from getting the role, it's just to make sure that we're placing you on the best department for you. If you're suffering with bad knees and bad ankles and you know that walking around aggravates them, I wouldn't put you on a process like picking, because it is the most active role we have in the building. So it's just specifying it to you. As I said, we've got people who are permanent workers with us who suffer with things like ADHD and autism, and they absolutely love it there because they love the organisation of it. However, sometimes we just need to make sure that what the building looks like before you get there. So it may be the case of we can ask health and safety to go through some things with you before we actually place you in the building, so you feel more comfortable to be able to go through that. Same with anxiety as well. So if you obviously don't declare anything from us, about your health and safety or any medical conditions, and then we have to end your assignment because of those, obviously please be aware that it's not the best look for yourself or for Amazon. It will be the case of we just need to know about everything before you start. Amazon does ship a variety of products, including meats, alcohols, perfumes, and toiletries. If you have any aversion to holding any of these products or being near them, please let us know during interview. However, Amazon in Swansea doesn't really tend to hold any of these products. It is mainly clothing, shoes, and apparel. So you shouldn't come across them, but please let us know just in case. And again, if you have any allergies, we get people who are allergic to like nuts, latex, all the rest of it. Please let us know. And again, we can double check that either the area you'll be working in doesn't have that, or if it is something that could be an area working in, we do suggest another area for you. Or be honest with you, saying this is probably not the best place to work for you, but we'll discuss that with you. And again, if you're taking any medication, please inform us just so we can let the health and safety know. Obviously, we have people with diabetes and stuff like that who have to come off the shop floor to take insulin or whatever it may be, or have to have organised break times because of their insulin. That's completely fine. We can organise that for you. And the same if you have, some people have got the new readers that they need to take their mobile onto the shop floor to read their blood sugar levels, and you can do that as well. We can get a note to say that you can take that onto the shop floor. Again, so there are two departments within Amazon. There's the inbound and outbound department. So inbound is everything going into the building, and outbound is everything coming out of the building. Any department that you can work in within the building, for example, like I mentioned earlier, like picking, packing, receive, or stow, they're all different departments in the building that require you to do different roles. But again, once you select one, you'll be doing that all the way through. And that will just depend on whether your start time is 15 minutes earlier or 15 minutes later. But again, before you get given a shift, you explain this all and you get an email to confirm everything with you as well. So what I'll do is I'll quickly go through some of a breakdown of what kind of the roles would be. So receiving is actually bringing items into the building. So it's standing in a stationary location, and what it is, like big boxes will come full of items, whether it be shoes or books or whatever it may be. And then what you will do is you'll scan them individually into the system so Amazon can then update their website as to how many they have available to sell. Stowing, as I mentioned, will be putting the items on the shelves. And that will literally be the case of you will have a tub of items, you will walk around with what they class as the scanner or the gun, and then you scan the item, scan the location of where you're popping it in, and you can pop that there as well. Now, stowing is an active role where you're walking around the warehouse. However, you can stow many items in one location, so it's active, but it's not the most active role within the building. The most active role in the building is actually picking, which is what I'll go on to now. And that is, as I said, gathering the items ready for the customer. So you will have an empty box and you'll have, again, either the scanner or the gun, depending on what you want to call it. You will have that on the scanner. It will flash up with where you need to be in the warehouse to select the item. You will then walk to that area, scan the bin of where it is. You will then pick up the item, scan the item, pop it in the box and scan that you have it. From there, the next item will load and you will then continue your journey onto the next item and repeat the process. The other option then is packing. Again, that's a stationary location where you will be standing in one location and you will have a tray of items next to you, or what they class as a rack next to you, with all the items that need to be packed. From there, then you will grab the item, you will scan it. It will then tell you what size box you need to put that in. You'll pop it in the box, add any padding that needs, and then seal it up and then put it back on the conveyor belt. And again, you will repeat this process. The last one on the list then is ICQA, that's quality control. So basically you're counting stock and checking the building and the stock that we have in is of good quality to give to the customer. Is there any damaged products or anything like that? So if you are a driver, there is parking on site. There's also a motorcycle parking bay as well. So they're a lot smaller, but more obviously can fit in. If you're driving a car, we ask you to park in the overflow car park, which is just literally next door to the building. But again, you'll be given instructions of that on your day zero. If you are riding a bicycle, there are bike locks for you, and they're all coded. So there is nobody that can get access to that bike lock except for yourself. So that will be there for you. Also, Amazon fully supports something called car share. Obviously, due to COVID at the moment, it's a little bit different. However, when it's not on and we're not having the issues with COVID, you will be able to use something called a lift share app, which is basically where you can put in either you're a driver and you're happy to give somebody a lift, and then you can organise payment between you or whatever it may be, or if you're happy to do it for free, perfect. Or it will be the case if you're somebody who needs a lift, you can see a list of drivers who are available to take you from whatever area you are, and then you can book yourself in with them as well. On the screen, there's also saying here exactly what the address is of the warehouse. But again, you'll be given that information multiple times throughout this process. So again, that is just saying to you about the lift share scheme. We ask you obviously to take advantage of it. It is a really, really good option for you. Also during Christmas time and stuff like that, they enter you into prize draws for being on the lift sharing scheme. So on the screen, you can see some people looking a bit daft and a bit silly. But basically, we try and have as much fun as we can in the warehouse. It is a warehouse at the end of the day. Everybody has a job to do. But they do try and make it as fun as possible by either dressing up, doing Christmas dinners for the I think it's the whole month before Christmas. They have a calendar, which is where every single day they have a different event, whether it be free hot chocolates, free Sunday dinners, advent calendars, games, fun fairs, arcade games, wherever it may be, and they try and make it as fun as possible. As I mentioned, they also do stuff of kind of like picker of the month, packer of the month, best attendance, and all the rest like that. And you get prizes and vouchers and stuff like that. So what in Amazon, there is a locker room where you can store all of your items safely. There's an internet cafe. There's free tea and coffee available at any break room or main canteen. There's multiple break rooms across the warehouse and on the shop floors, so you do not need to walk always to the main canteen unless you want hot food. The rest have vending machines, fridges, microwaves. There's also, as I said, staff restaurant with hot and cold food, fridges, microwaves, and vending machines. We have stuff like competitions and associate engagement, peak prizes. We have a contemplation room for anybody that decides that needs it, and also supports local charities. There is now a games room as well within the building that has stuff like pool. They're also on about setting up a gym in the next few weeks as well. So there should be a lot of things for you to be able to do that as well. So again, communication is key for us. We need to make sure if you think there's an issue or you want us to kind of view something for you, communication is the best way to do that. The more you can talk to us, the better our relationship will be, which means we'll be able to help you more. So does anybody have any questions for me?
Okay, thank you so much for that, Natasha. There's a lot to take in there. So I will just go to the conversation area, see if we have any questions. We don't have any questions in the chat box at the moment, but I have a number of questions to ask on behalf of our team. First of all, would anybody like to ask Natasha via their audio, via their microphone? Okay, no, I don't think we have anyone else.
Is it Tim? Can I just ask one question, please?
Yeah.
I live in Bridgend, so I don't know if I come under this scheme that you talk about. But anyway, would I be able to change the days that I work if an event comes up, i.e. go to a football match, something like that?
So if you're working, for example, obviously your normal shift pattern, there's options that you can do. You can either book an annual leave, so book holidays to do that, or sometimes they will allow you to do a shift swap. It just depends how much notice you give them, and as long as it's not on a regular basis. So for example, if you were saying to me it's going to be every Saturday, it's not something that they will look at. However, if it's going to be kind of one Saturday a month or something like that, that's something they're more inclined to look at for you.
Okay, thanks. Great.
No problem.
Thanks for your question, Tim. Does anybody have any other questions they'd like to ask before I start? Oh, we have a question. Do they employ just weekend posts?
It's not just weekend. However, at the moment, towards the Christmas period, the main shifts that we are getting in is inclusive of at least one day in the weekend, if not both. So sometimes we do get shifts, something like Tuesday to Friday. However, it's not always guaranteed that they will come in, or if they do come in, they're very far and few between. So, example, if somebody did a registration with us this week, I couldn't guarantee that you'll be starting in the next 2 to 3 weeks until I know what shifts are coming in. However, if you're more flexible with what days you can work, I can guarantee almost basically to start next week.
Okay, fantastic. Another question. How long before you are offered a job can you expect to start? Oh, you just pretty much answered that.
Yeah, so it's literally as soon as you've had your interview and you've gone through the processes. So once the kind of interview the phone interview has taken place, it is very heavily reliant on the candidate and the applicant. So as long as you get your ID link sorted straight away and you complete the questionnaire straight away, we'll be able to evaluate your application. From there, we'll have a decision within less than a day. And then from there, you'll be able to be offered a shift. Well, as I said, we're hiring every single week at the moment. And we're hiring anywhere from 120 a week to around 300 and something a week. So there's massive scope for everybody to have a job.
Fantastic, thank you. Another question. Would Amazon consider less hour posts or flexible positions that would suit single adult households?
So it just depends, if I'm honest with you. In regards to flexible, it will be the case of you have to work the 40 hours a week. So I don't know if it's something that you'll be able to organise with just getting the 4 days that are better for you. If not, it's potentially better to look at potentially the Kenfig warehouse, as they are more flexible with what hours you can work, as long as it's between the shift pattern. But you flex up or flex down how many days you work in the Kenfig warehouse.
Okay. Is there sick pay? Should you be on the sick and with random alcohol test? Is it the same as, sorry, so I think there's 2 questions there. Is there sick pay?
Yeah.
Should you be on the sick? And with a random alcohol test, is it the same as the driver test, breath? So as long as you haven't had a drink for 24 hours, it would be negative.
Yeah, so to talk about the alcohol test, that's the fastest one. That will literally be the case of if you're caught drink driving. So yeah, it'll just be a breathalyzer. As long as it's not in your system, you're good to go. And for sick pay, it completely depends on length of service and obviously how long you're off sick for. So for example, if you start working and then after 2 months, something happens and then you have to go off on sick, that's something that we can look at. But if not, you'll be passed over to the government SSP. So you'll be on statutory sick pay from the government.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Do you employ ex-offenders or people with criminal records?
Anything that's a current criminal record, unfortunately not. Anything that is a spent conviction, that is something that we can look at. It will be something that we're happy to discuss during an interview. So we advise everybody to apply. And then during the phone interview, we'll ask you that question and obviously declare it then. And then we can kind of go through that with you, whether it be spent or unspent.
Okay, thank you. Okay, one of our mentors has asked or has said a participant of hers has applied via online process but was unsuccessful due to not having his own transport. He was hoping to car share with a friend. He now wants to apply for positions in the Kenfig industrial estate. Does he just need to go through online process again, and can he specify the Kenfig site?
Yeah, so do you know where he was coming from if he's trying to get to Swansea? If it's anything in like the Newport area or the Cardiff area, we don't discriminate people travelling from those areas. We just prefer people that can drive due to public transport not being the best from that area. But for Kenfig, yes, I can share a link later on today with the actual application that goes directly to the Kenfig site.
Lovely, thank you. Yeah, he was from the top end of the Avon Valley, so he was travelling quite a way out, but
yeah,
I think it would be a lot easier for him if you can share that link. I can get it done with him this afternoon, then that'd be brilliant.
That's great. There we go. It's perfect. Not a problem.
Okay, are there any other questions before I go on to my list? We can always come back to them anyway. So I'll just start with some of, are there progression opportunities within Amazon?
Definitely, there's plenty. So a lot of our actual managers who work in Amazon, who are basically running the site, all started as pickers and packers. So we've got lots of people who start on the shop floor and then work their way to shift manager. So from temporary agency staff, they go to permanent workers. From permanent workers, then they apply for stuff like health and safety roles, management roles. You can go to team leads, you can go into kind of, there's so many different opportunities. You can go towards HR, you can go towards labour and development, you can go to health and safety. There's so many different opportunities in Amazon. The hungrier you are, the better it is.
Fantastic, thank you. Tim, do you still have a question? I can see your hand is raised.
Yes. Kenfig would be best for me as I live in Bridgend. Do they offer Monday to Friday shifts there?
Yes, they do. They offer more about kind of the mid-range as well. However, your overtime day may be on a weekend, but the normal shift pattern can be in the week.
Right, lovely. How do we go through you to apply for that, or?
Yeah,
is there
so what I'll
additional-
do is in a few moments I will pop a link in the chat that will apply directly to the Kenfig warehouse for yourself.
Lovely, thanks very much.
No problem.
Okay, another question. Previously with participants, they used to say that when attending for their shifts, if there was no work, they were turned away. Is this still the case? Has this is sometimes an issue with people who rely on lifts to get to the venue?
So definitely not. I mean, they have something called voluntary, or called VTO, which is voluntary time off, which is basically when you go to the warehouse, if there's not enough work, so obviously sometimes the amount of orders will be down for that day, you are offered to go home. It's not a case if you turn up and you have to go home. You can decide whether you want to work or take it as a holiday. If you don't want to take that as a holiday, you are more than happy to continue with your work. But that opportunity is there for you. As some people, it might be their overtime day and they'll decide, you know what, I'll just go home instead. It's completely up to you.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Right, I'm going to move on to my questions. If anybody has any others, please. Oh, yeah, we have another one. If I've worked there in the past and left upon my own accord, would I be able to work there again?
Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue. So once you apply to Amazon, everybody goes through something called a rehire check. Whether you've worked there before or not, it's just Amazon's way of just checking everybody's application. And what you'll do is said with that rehire check, they'll be able to view exactly why you left, when you worked there, kind of your attendance and all the rest of it. And then from there, then they'll be able to let me know, and we'll discuss that with you in interview. So the only reasons you normally can't go back to Amazon is if for misconduct or violation of rules. Everything else than that, you should be fine.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, I'm going to move on to the questions. I'll try not to repeat some of them, but apologies if I do.
It's okay.
Okay, so if customers would like to apply for work on your for your site in Kenfig Industrial Estate, is it the same recruitment process? Is there a place to specify which site, which you've just mentioned? You're going to send a link through.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I've just popped it in the chat now, yeah. So the one I've sent at 11:40, the blue link, that is the link directly to Kenfig Warehouse.
Fantastic, thank you. Applicants who don't drive, is there a way they can be placed on a shift to someone they know they can car share with?
Yeah, so if they've either got somebody who's currently working there, obviously they'll be able to discuss with their friends of what shift they work, notify us, and we can get you on the same shift as and when it comes available. Or if you're applying with your friend, as long as you're both successful, we can place you on the same shift together. It's not a problem.
Fantastic, thank you. Are they giving extra training for those customers with learning disabilities, those who would need extra time spent?
Yeah, so obviously it depends on what it is that they are struggling with. However, training is available for anyone. So if basically you get put on something called a learning curve. Now, so that's for the first 4 weeks that you work in Amazon. So everybody has to work towards targets, but the first 4 weeks, they are drastically lower than everybody else in the building. And it's just to give you time to get used to the building, get used to the process, and understand how everything works. Now, after the 4 weeks, if you're still struggling, or to be fair, even before then, if you feel like you don't quite understand, or you're not understanding or grasping the concept of what is happening, we have agency reps as Amazon managers. There's actual training staff there who are there all the time, and then just speak to them and they'll give you a refresher training, or they can take you off the shop floor and make sure that you're okay and you're happy with everything. And for the first few days that you work there, you will have like a training buddy, especially for the first full day. You'll get a training buddy that goes through everything step by step the whole day with you.
Fantastic, thank you. And do you offer part-time work? You've been through that a little?
Yes, there's nothing for part-time at the moment. It's only full-time work.
Okay, only full-time. What if someone works there and the bus is late?
So what we'd advise you to do then, if you are obviously either waiting at a bus stop or you're on the bus but it's running late, the minute you know that you will not be getting to site on time, you need to call the on-site number and tell them that you will be there but you're running late due to whatever circumstance.
Okay, brilliant. And would they be quite supportive of that? Would they be understanding of that?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, there's things, especially being on Fabian Way, there's multiple car crashes and all the rest of it, unfortunately, that go on in that area. So there is some times where, you can't help it. If it's something that can't be helped, I mean, some people who obviously are just I've slept in, my alarm didn't go off and all the rest of it. Obviously, that's fine for the first 1 or 2 occasions. However, it becomes a regular thing. It'll be something that they probably frown upon a bit more. But general, issues that happen, that'll be fine.
Okay, thank you. And how many days of training will I get before I do the job?
So you will do your day 0, which is just that. Normally, that is when you do a training session. Obviously, due to COVID, that has kind of messed that around at the moment, so it'll just be a phone call. But on your day 1, the whole day is spent training, where it's with a live product and you're with an instructor, so they can overview with you to make sure that everything is going smoothly, and then you'll be placed into the role fully by yourself the day after. However, you will be asked to report at the end of shift to make sure you're happy with anything. There'll also be instructors all around that you can ask questions to if you're not happy or you feel you're not confident enough to do it by yourself yet. And again, there's a learning curve for 4 weeks, so you will not be asked to do anywhere near as many items, whether it be picking, packing, stowing, receiving, as everybody else around you.
Okay, great, thank you. Do I get paid holiday?
Yes, so it works off a accrual basis. So for every week that you work, or every 4 days that you work, you get half a day holiday accrual. And unfortunately, you do not accrue holidays on overtime. It is only on basic hours. Again, as long as you've accrued the holidays, then you'll be paid them. If you want to take holiday that you haven't accrued, then they'll be taken as unpaid.
Okay, thank you. And do you support a car share? Yes, you've mentioned that too.
Yeah.
How much is it an hour?
You've mentioned that. £9 something, I think, for day, wasn't it? And 11 for
days and 11.25 for nights.
Fantastic, thank you. Okay, right, we've got another one. A lot of customers have been with Amazon and not hit the required target. Wouldn't it be financially and more effective for Amazon staff to continue to help and support those who are nearly there rather than leaving them go all the time?
Yes, so they definitely support the staff who are there who aren't hitting targets and all the rest of it. So way back in the day, about 6 years ago, there used to be a very different method, which is what got Amazon the negative press, and kind of what everybody holds them a standard to, which obviously in 6 years, Amazon has come a very, very long way. I've been working with them for 6 years. So I've seen the drastic changes. So way back in the day with the horror stories, as I said, would be the case. If you're not hitting target, you get 3 strikes and you're out. That is not the case. You will be given support and training. If you're still struggling with the issues, you can then either be asked to be placed on a different department or cross-trained, which means you can work on different departments throughout the week. Or it will be the case of you will have a reviewer, and there is a lot of kind of conversations and training programs and plans put in place before it will ever lead to a dismissal.
Fantastic, thank you. Just reading next. Okay. Would there be any easement of criminal conviction rules if the convictions were deemed as spent in August 2020? So,
if it's spent, then that's fine, because the spent is spent on your record. We would just need to double check. So when we go through interview and somebody says they have a criminal conviction, it is normally the case of one of my colleagues will ask you what it was for. And how long ago it was spent, or what was the sentencing for it. So if there's anything like a fine or a warning, it will be 2 years from the date that the fine was paid. Anything of a prison sentence, a prison sentence could be anywhere from 5 years after you come out of prison. And if it's anything long, if you served any time longer than 6 years in prison, unfortunately, that criminal conviction will never be unspent. Or will never be spent, sorry.
Okay, no problem. And my last question is, do you need good English to work for Amazon?
It depends on what you state in level as good. There needs to be conversational, and for health and safety reasons, they need to be able to understand basic health instructions. So there is a health and safety test on your day 0. So it will be the case of you need to be able to pass that by yourself. And the interview process is pretty much a good place to start. If you can have the conversation with us at interview, if we're speaking too fast, I understand that we're all Welsh in a chatterbox. So if that is the case, ask us to slow down. And then once we've slowed down, then we can then discuss that with you.
Okay, great. And sorry, did you say there was a test they need to pass?
There's a health and safety test, and that is taking place on day 0. and that will literally just be stuff kind of like how do you lift a box, but it's all a written test. So they'll need to be able to read the questions and then obviously type the answers or select multiple choice answers.
That's great, thank you. Let me just check if I have any more questions. Okay, Tim has said that he's tried to access the link as stated, but it does not take me to Config site.
Yeah, so it should take into something called Amazon Force, and it should say Sortation Associate. And then from there, then if you scroll down, it will say about that. It should say, if you go onto like the third line down, so this position is based in Amazon Logistics, DSA 1 South Wales Distribution Centre, Kenfig Industrial Estate, Margam. And then from there, you will then press I accept and then continue from the application through there.
That's brilliant, thank you. I know in the past I've heard some of the mentors talk about how they haven't been able to do the online process. I haven't actually got a question in front of me, but have you had some problems with the site and it not working?
Yeah, we haven't, thankfully. I know in the past, as you said, we have had some difficulties in the past with people not being able to either log into the site or forgetting passwords or anything like that. So if you have worked in Amazon before, the best thing to do is click on the new link, log in, and then update it. However, if you haven't worked there before, it's pretty much straightforward. There shouldn't be any issues with that. But if you have worked there before and you're getting any issues, just make a note or email me directly, and I'll be able to have a look at that for you.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Natasha. Okay, so we've come to the end of our question and answer session. Before we finish, does anybody else have anything they want to ask? No, I can't see anything. Nobody's asked. Oh, finish weekend? No. Okay, so we're going to leave it at that. Thank you once. Oh, sorry, we have one more question. Will the slides be available after the meeting? Are we able to share the presentation, Natasha?
I'll need to speak with Adecco about that if I can share it. Okay. I should be able to, because as soon as the guys apply, they automatically get the presentation.
Right, okay, fantastic, thank you. Everybody's saying thank you as well. So yeah, I am from C4W Press Progen. Thank you, Natasha and Holly. Yeah, thanks, it's been really, really interesting, and it's definitely changed my perception of working there. You know, I've heard mixed reviews. So yeah, and I think it will help other people as well too.
As I said, if anybody has any questions, feel free to email me directly, and I'm more than happy to either put in another session or it'll be the case if I can email directly.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. It was brilliant.
No problem.
So next up, just to finish off, we have a talk from Emma Walsh, our Employer Liaison Officer, talking about her role and how she works with other employers such as Adecco and Amazon to help recruit for them, but also help provide opportunities for employment for our participants as well. So Emma, are you ready?
Thank you. Thanks, Natasha. That was brilliant. There's lots of information to take on board there, and we really appreciate your time. Thank you, Holly, as well. As Holly pointed out at the introduction of today's session, she's covered basically what Communities for Work Plus is about and who is eligible and what the project provides for those individuals. However, my aim within the role then is to provide local employers with an opportunity to save time and money on recruitment and training. I do this then by meeting with the employers, obviously virtually at the moment due to the current circumstances, in order to gain a better understanding of their needs, in order that we can provide quality candidates for interview as and when needed. The service is flexible and any training needed for the role can be discussed depending on the candidate and the type of training needed. Now, obviously more than ever during these unprecedented circumstances, it is important to maintain and to continue to build close relationships with employers. For example, I've re-established links with Adecco, who you have heard from in a lot of detail today. And again, we really do appreciate your time, Natasha. Thank you very much for that. Another aspect of my role then is to work closely with the mentors. So I'm guided by the mentors in order to offer any additional support for participants in order for them to access employment opportunities. So I'm led by the mentors who work closely with their participants and who know what their requirements are. Due to the fact that we are in lockdown, the services available vary. However, I can support by offering mock telephone interviews to develop confidence, and as well as this, I can look over CVs and source job vacancies. So if there is any support or assistance, as Holly pointed out, we have got the main one, jobsupport@npt.gov.uk, or WhatsApp or call the numbers that were given at the beginning. And then I'll pop my details in the chat box. It's e.walsh@npt.gov.uk. So if you do have any questions or queries, then please do not hesitate to contact us.
That's lovely. Thank you, Emma. Just to finish off, I'm going to play a quick video from our team, just telling you again, just reminding you that we are here during this COVID crisis. So please take a watch and enjoy.
Myself and my lovely colleagues are just sending you this quick video just to reassure you all that during these strange and uncertain times,
Communities Work Plus is still here.
But we're still here to support you and help you with any of your employment needs.
And although we might not be in our usual base at this difficult and uncertain time,
we are here to help you and support you every step of the way.
Some of the things that we can help with are CVs and help you apply for jobs. We can also put you on online training courses to better your chances of getting a job.
If you are out of work at the moment and you are looking to return as soon as possible,
start your journey with the Communities for Work and the Communities for Work Plus teams. All you have to do is make contact.
Mentors can contact you via telephone, WhatsApp, Facebook, email or virtual calls.
So please give us a call on the numbers provided, and we look forward to hearing from you soon in this strange time.
So go out there, do something, enjoy life.
Okay, so that is the end of our Amazon Careers question and answer session. I hope you have all enjoyed and taken something from this event. I will be sending around a post-event feedback survey, just a quick 2-minute form. So if you could please all complete that, that would be much appreciated, so we can see how we can improve for the future. If you have any questions about today's event, please get in touch, or if you are looking for support or know somebody that wants or need support to find employment or training opportunities, just get in touch with us. It's really simple. You can give us a call on 860 160, email jobsupport@npt.gov.uk, or visit our webpage www.npt.gov.uk/CFW, where you can click on Contact Us Now, and there'll be an online referral/inquiry form that you can complete, and it will go straight through to our job support inbox. As I said, you don't have to worry about whether you are eligible or not. We'll do that for you. Our triage officers deal with referrals every day. They know who is best to help you, what projects are available, and between one of us and the NPT Employability, we will be able to support you, no doubt. So yeah, best of luck for your future, for your career, and thank you for joining.